Hey, what is ameloblastoma? Don't worry, here comes a solution for this question. Firstly, let's learn what is a tumor. A tumor, which is also called as a neoplasm, is an abnormal mass of tissue. Its growth is uncontrolled and not coordinated with that of a normal tissue. Its growth continues in a same excessive pattern even after stopping the stimulus which has evoked the change. Let's see the classification of tumors. Based on the origin, there are two, that is odontogenic and non-odontogenic. And based on the nature, there are two types of tumors, that is benign and malignant. So the ameloblastoma belongs to the odontogenic benign type of tumor lesion. In the word ameloblastoma, amel means enamel and blastos means germ. That is, this type of tumor emerges due to the abnormal changes happening in the enamel of a particular tooth. So let's understand the classification depending upon its clinical features. So that there are four types, that is intraosseous, which is also called as central, extraosseous, that is peripheral, pituitary ameloblastoma, and the malignant ameloblastoma. The intraosseous type of lesions has two different varieties, that is conventional or multicystic or solid, which is the most common type, and the unicystic ameloblastoma. Based upon its histology, it's classified into 6 different varieties, that is follicular, plexiform, acanthomatous, granular cell type, basal cell type, and desmoplastic ameloblastoma. The most common etiological factors include the traumatic factors, that is extractions, fractures, and cystectomy, which is a removal of a cyst. Various types of infections including the viral infections. Deficiencies of vitamin D as well as protein. So here is a figure which shows the gradient wise distribution of the ameloblastoma. So as you can see here, the posterior region of the mandible is the most frequently affected site, followed by the premolar region and then followed by the mandibular anteriors, which is then followed by the maxillary anteriors and the posteriors, and lastly the maxillary premolar region, which is the least occurrence site. The most important clinical features which are frequently seen are facial asymmetry, mobility of teeth, and exfoliation of the same. If a patient is a denture wearer, the particular patient will complain of the ill-fitting dentures due to the variation in the measurements and due to the mobility and the exfoliation of the teeth. The patient also complains of pain or paresthesia if the lesion affects a nerve. The term paresthesia means the pricking or tingling sensation when the particular lesion gives excessive pressure on the nerve or it damages the peripheral nerves. The patient also complains of inability to occlude as there is variations in the mobility of the teeth. And sometimes there is complaint of ulcerations as well. Let's first see the unicystic type of ameloblastoma. There is a single cystic cavity in which there is differentiation of the ameloblastic cells. It is most frequently found surrounding the crown of an unerupted mandibular third molar, which resembles the dentigerous cyst. There is root resorption which is accompanied with the tooth displacement. So in this X-ray, as you can see, there is a single cystic cavity which is present beneath the premolars and the molar, and there is resorption of the roots of the premolar and the molar, and there is also a slight displacement of the molar. So when we take the radiograph to diagnose the lesion, we can actually find two different appearances, that is the soap bubble pattern and the honeycomb pattern. There is buccolingual cortical expansion, that is, this lesion actually destroys the buccolingual cortical plates, which is also called as the hollowing out effect. CT scan or 3D scan is actually useful to diagnose. So let's learn about the extraosseous lesion. So as in diagram, you can clearly see that there is a small swelling like structure present on the gingiva. Okay. So it's a lesion which develops in soft tissue of gingiva or mucosa, and it appears as a small nodule on it. The next is a pituitary ameloblastoma, which is also called as the craniopharyngioma or Rathke's pouch tumor. Now let's learn what are its clinical features. It mainly involves the CNS. It destroys the pituitary gland, and because of which the endocrine disturbances happens, which will lead to drowsiness and toxic symptoms. Next comes the malignant ameloblastoma. In this type, there is malignant transformation of the ameloblastoma. Okay. The common sites for the metastasis are lungs, spleen, kidney and ileum. The word metastasis means there is development of secondary malignant growth elsewhere in the body from the primary site of cancer. Okay. So till now we have learned the clinical features of various types of ameloblastoma, right? So let's learn what are the investigations that are important to diagnose a lesion. Radiographs, biopsy, CT scan, MRI and ultrasound. So in this way we can diagnose the lesion, and also we can plan the treatment accordingly. So quickly let's learn about the histological types of the ameloblastoma. The follicular one, you can see here there are islands of tumor cells, and in plexiform type there is network of the interconnected strands. In acanthomatous, here you can see that a center of keratin formation. Okay, and in granular type there is granular type of ameloblastic cells which are present. The next is a basal type, wherein you can see that these cells are arranged in sheets like structures, and in desmoplastic the cells are compressed. I have quickly showed you the histologic slides of different ameloblastic lesions so that you can easily understand what all unique characteristics are present in each type. And I hope that it's very clear to you. So thank you my dear friends for watching my today's video. Please do like and share my videos and give your valuable feedbacks, because it's a motivation for me to come up with more such videos. So we'll be seeing you next time. Take care. Bye.